Hi ladies, Judy Weber here, and I'm super excited to be bringing you this very special podcast. And it is my honor to be speaking with Loida Velasquez. And it's really awesome to get to know Loida, both online and also we've been communicating for the last couple of weeks. And I love how Loida describes herself on her very popular YouTube channel. She says she's a real estate hustler. She's a fitness enthusiast and a spontaneous adventurer. And that's all well and good. I don't know the last two, but I believe it, right? But I say that Loida serves as an amazing role model for women who really want to build an outrageously successful real estate business. I mean, she's been in the business only a couple of years and she's tearing it up. And Loida's here to tell you ladies that you can do that too. So let's welcome Loida to Livy Girl Radio.
Yes, thank you so much, Judy. I'm really excited to be on the podcast and hopefully drop a lot of knowledge for everyone that's listening.
Well, awesome. I'm sure you will. I mean, let's just start right with where it begins, your story of entering real estate. If I remember correctly, you have a marketing and promotions type background. So can you tell us a little bit about what you did and how that, how you ended up with real estate?
Yeah. So when I went to college, I initially went in and majored in sociology, but I quickly realized that as much as I liked helping people, it really wasn't something that I was that much interested in. At that time, I had never had a job, and my first job that I ever got was working in promotions and advertising for a soft drink. And when I started doing that, I had to go out to events, talk to people, kind of break out of my shell. Growing up, I was an introvert. And when I started to see the impact that I would have on other people, just letting them know about the product that I was promoting, I saw how excited that they would get. And in turn, they would probably go out to a store and purchase whatever it is that I was telling them about. Our clients were happy. And that's what made me realize that I wanted to be in an industry where I could travel around, go to events, and talk to people. And at the same time, that's my job. So in a sense, I was, for about 4 or 5 years, I did marketing and promotions, where that's exactly what I did. I worked with brands in the entertainment, automotive, movies, films, music, everything and anything. And at that time, early 20s, it was exactly what I wanted to do. I wasn't stuck in a cubicle. Then out of nowhere, I had a company that did automotive advertising reach out to me, and they told me that they were looking for someone like myself that was bilingual to travel around and be a product specialist for automotive brands. So I did that for another 3 years, living out of a suitcase from hotel to hotel, which was great. Everything was being paid for and I got to travel. But at the end of 2013, I was at the Chicago Auto Show. It was negative 30 degrees. I was outside working the ride and drive. And at that point, I realized I don't want to continue doing this. I need a real job. And a recruiter found me on LinkedIn. They reached out. They had a program manager position for a company that's very well known in the downtown LA area, which was about 4 miles from my home. When I got back home, I went on an interview, got that job, got that stable professional office job that I thought that I wanted, did that for 3 months and absolutely hated it. Now, it was something that I thought that I wanted, but at the end of the day, it wasn't what I was expecting. I figured, I'm going to go back to school and get my master's degree because eventually I can get an executive level job and make 6 figures. Got accepted to an MBA program, went back for a semester or two. And then at that time, I had my boyfriend, who's my boyfriend now. He had already been in the industry for about 2 years. And we have very similar mindsets. And I saw the success that he was having. And initially it started kind of like a joke, like, hey, when are you going to hire an assistant? Even though I was enjoying the work that I was doing in advertising, I knew that I was working in a negative environment. The people that I was working with were not people that would push me to be better or to grow in the company. It was kind of like they don't want to see you be better than them, or if you succeed, it's like they want to put you down. So long story short, while I was in the MBA program, that's when my boyfriend said, maybe real estate is something you can consider. I was ready to just make a complete career change. I told him, okay, what's it going to take? Where do I need to sign up? What are the books? What are the courses? And at the end of December 2014, that's when pretty much my whole transition happened. I left the last job that I was at. I just ordered my books and I told him, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And he said, this is not for everyone. It's not luxurious. It's not glamorous. And it takes a lot of work. He is very big on door knocking. Brian Casella, you can find him on YouTube as well, big on there.
We know Brian, yeah.
Yeah, so I told him, I'll go and shadow you. So initially it started with me going once a week on Saturdays. Back then he was always on the doors, and I saw how relentless and dedicated he was. And I told myself, well, if he is doing that and I can do that as well, and we can both work together and just take it head on and be successful, then I know that we can get somewhere eventually. And fast forward to now, which has been about 4 years, 3-4 years. Now we have a team, we have grown together, and that's pretty much how my whole transition from marketing got me into real estate. I was just kind of tired.
Yeah, that's an amazing story, Loida. That's really super. Now, one of the things that you said that really stood out for me is that you're an introvert.
Yeah.
Because, I'm blessed to speak with ladies across, US and Canada. And so many of them say, well, I don't really know if this is for me because I'm an introvert and I love talking to people one-on-one, but not by door knocking. So can you address that? Like, how does an introvert succeed in this business?
Yeah. Well, growing up, I remember being in middle school and in high school, I would hate raising my hand. I would always be like, please don't call on me. And then whenever the teacher said, oh, I need a volunteer, I would try to not make eye contact just so that I would not be that person. And it wasn't until that first job that I got in marketing where I had to actually go out and talk to people, I saw that it wasn't really that bad. And at the same time, I told myself, okay, in order for me to get paid and to continue doing well at this job, I need to do whatever it takes. And that meant me going out, getting out of my shell and talking to people. And that's pretty much what helped me become better at communication and public speaking and just kind of not caring what people would have to say or what they thought about me. Because at the end of the day, I was being hired to promote and talk about a product that the client knew, okay, Loida, she's capable of doing it. She just has to put herself out there. And once I got comfortable with that, that led me to become better at speaking, communication, and going into real estate. That helped me a lot because now, and even before I got into real estate, very quickly, when I would see Brian, when he told me that he wanted to get into real estate, I briefly considered it, but not at all in the beginning when he initially did. And I remember telling myself, I will never door knock or cold call people because that's something that I will never do. And look at me now. That's
right. Right. Well, let's talk. We're gonna get into. You are like the door knocking, the cold calling queen. I mean, and you teach us how to do that on YouTube, and I so appreciate that. But you addressed a couple of things there. The fear. Mm-hmm. Am I right that initially then you were scared? So how did you overcome that fear and just do it?
The fear of. There's always a fear of the unknown. So for us, for example, me, when I started getting into marketing, it was, okay, what are these people going to say if I mess up? If I don't say something correctly, they're going to judge me and then they're going to say, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And that relates to real estate because even in the beginning, it's like we have so many conversations with people and everyone is different in their personalities. But ultimately, what helped me in breaking out of my shell is knowing that, I know that at the end of the day, I can help this person either buy or sell. And it's my job that they know that I'm the best person that's capable of getting them what they want. And if I am very educated and I know how to help them, then they're going to see that I'm confident and I can get the job done. So with practice, knowing how to speak to someone, the tonality of my voice, all of these are things that have helped me overcome that fear and get out of my shell and not be so much of an introvert. Especially in this business, the less people that know about you, you're not going to make any money. So
you're out of
have
business.
to step out of yourself. Yeah, you have to talk to as many people as you can every single day. Some people are going to say yes, some people are going to say no, but ultimately, I know that if someone says yes, they convert, I help them, that's not a $500 paycheck. That's tens and thousands of dollars for just me, out of the willingness of my heart, being able to help someone and doing a good job.
Okay, excellent. So let's address that issue of talking to people every day. How many people do you speak to every day, and how are you doing that?
Yes. So I minimum have a goal of 50 conversations, and I use Mojo's 3-line dialer, and I call a lot of expireds. I circle prospect different zip codes. I do just listed, just sold, and also my sphere of influence. Now, the answer rate varies every day, every hour. However, by doing the 3-line dialer, it allows me to be efficient. Some days it could take me up to 4 or 5 hours to get 30 conversations. But some days, like, for example, on Monday, in 3.5 hours, I made 65 conversations. These conversations, I know that initially for someone that's new are going to be very tough. I know I tell everyone, set a goal, whether it's 20 a day or 30 a day, whatever you feel comfortable, but set that number, because obviously the more people we talk to, the more chances we might have of coming across someone that wants to do something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with these 50 conversations you're having, what about when someone doesn't answer the phone? Do you leave a voicemail, or how do you handle that?
Yes, I do have a pre-recorded message that I'm just able to drop if they don't answer.
Gotcha. And do you mind sharing generally what that voicemail is?
Yeah, so there's different ones. If I am just calling, for example, just sold, I'll say, hey, this is Loida. I'm a local real estate agent. Just want to let you know, I recently sold one of your neighbor's homes. It sold in 5 days for $30,000 above ask. We still have a few families that want to move into your area. If you're thinking about doing anything or have any questions, feel free to reach out. And then I give my phone number.
Excellent. Okay. Do you ever text people when you know if it's a cell phone number? Do you communicate that way?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes they don't answer, but most of the time I can see if they have read the message, or if not, I see that it's delivered, and especially if they have an iPhone.
Okay, excellent. So is that text brief, be brief, be gone, or do you say all of what you just said, for example, in a text?
Usually I'll do a video text.
Beautiful. Now you're hitting on something that I think is really important, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, Loida, because we're saying that in 2019, you got to do video. I don't care if you think you're fat or too thin or short or too tall or whatever. I mean, I'm 50. I'm looking at your beautiful face, and here I am at 50 with my bags and sags. But so I love that idea, because video, as you know, is what grabs people's attention. So can you just tell us a little bit about, for those that aren't familiar with doing videos, how you do that and then send it via text?
Yes. So any lead that I get, whether I'm cold calling or even door knocking or just anyone, I do a very short video. It's usually between 5 and 10 seconds, where it's just me introducing myself. Hey, this is Loida. We just got off the phone talking about your property XYZ. I just want to shoot you this quick video message to introduce myself and let you know that I'm here to help if you have any questions. And then that's it. I send it. Usually they respond, okay, thanks, or oh, okay, thanks, exclamation mark, whatever it is. But they're more likely to respond if I send a video message as opposed to just a regular text, because now they can see, okay, there's an actual person and it's not just another person that's spam calling me or another realtor if it's expired. So that has been able to help me and my team as well kind of be top of mind with whoever we're speaking to. So then when I check back, it's like, hey, it's Loida the realtor. Does that ring a bell? Oh, yes. Thanks so much for your messages. I do get them. Sometimes they don't respond, but they are seeing me. And all I care is that they're seeing my face and they're hearing from me as well.
That's excellent because, as you say, I think it would be perfect for open houses too, because so many buyers, and I know you focus on sellers, and I agree, listings is the way to go when you can. But if you do an open house, sometimes they visit 2, 3, 4, 5, and the video says, oh, I remember her. I remember her at that house. So I love that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. 50 conversations every day. So how many listing appointments on average do you go on a week? I mean, do you have a goal for that as well?
Yeah, my goal is to set one a day. Typically, it ends up being around 3 for the whole week. Some of them cancel, some of them get rescheduled. But from what I have noticed, when I'm just only calling expireds after 30 contacts, I usually get a solid lead, if not an appointment.
Okay.
And that's just for expireds. When I'm switching it up, whether it's expireds and circle prospecting, usually after around 70, I'll get something.
Okay, excellent. So what do you focus on? You focus on FSBOs, expireds, is that right?
Yes, FSBOs, expireds, my circle, sphere of influence. I try to get as many different angles as possible and not just stick to one, because I can't just rely on one. I also will call the make me moves on Zillow. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then door knocking the expireds.
Okay. So what has been, in your experience, the most effective approach for door knocking? Right? Because so many times, you know, it can be tough. And in one of the interviews I saw you did, you had said, you know what, it's kind of a benefit to be a woman. So can you speak to all of that, the whole door knocking thing as a woman today?
Oh, yes, it definitely is a benefit. When I first started, I would go door knocking with Brian. And what we would do is that initially we would both go together and knock on the doors. And then after I got comfortable, he would go on one side of the street and I would go on the other side. And we started to see that more people would open the door for me as opposed to him. When it comes to door knocking, especially people that don't know you, homeowners, they're more likely to open the door, for example, for a woman, just because they know, okay, women are usually not threatening, they can't beat me up or do anything, as opposed to Brian, who's 6'2", and if it's like an older lady, they're kind of scared, like, who are you?
Yeah, I can imagine, sure.
Yeah, so then I use that as my advantage, because I know, okay, if I am skilled in what I'm doing and I know I can help someone, if I go and get them at the door and they're motivated, I know that I'm going to set the appointment and hopefully help them. So as a woman, it's definitely an advantage to go out and door knock, just because people are more open to having a conversation with you.
Okay, interesting. So now does Brian say, okay, you're going to do the door knocking, hun, because that's your thing?
Sometimes what we would do is that we would both go together, but he would stand back or kind of stand behind the bushes. And then when they open the door, hey, I'm Brian, this is Loida. So you still get us.
I love that. I can just picture that. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, let me ask you, when you are there at the listing appointment, what do you think is critical to actually getting the listing? Is there like one secret that you care to share in that regard? Like when you're there, what do you do that's special to get that listing?
What I do is I feel that it really comes down to your confidence and how you project and speak to the other person, so that they know, okay, this person is it and they're going to get the job done. Even if they might ask you a question and they throw you off, if you respond confidently, like you know what you're doing, they're going to say, okay, I feel that I can trust this person. Obviously, you're going to do your homework beforehand in sending the pre-listing information, so that when you do go to the appointment, you avoid as many objections as you can. There will be others that you will encounter at the appointment, but the more prepared that you are and the more confident and well-spoken that you are, the higher chances that there might be that person is going to just sign it and go with you.
Okay, let's talk about those things and we could spend, I know we have limited time, but we could spend hours on this, but curious about role playing.
Mm-hmm.
I know that in your videos you had said role playing was critical and that as you were, studying to get your license, you prepared.
Yeah.
Right? So can you speak to that? Like, do you still role play now that you have become such a master, at door knocking and cold calling?
Yes, I still role play. I tell people, we are professionals in our field. And for example, professional athletes, they're always practicing. So what makes us different than them? If we want to get paid the big bucks, we have to always constantly be practicing and knowing our stuff. So even though I have been in the business for 3.5 years, I'm still role playing with people that have been in the business for a long time because I want to make sure that I'm always sharp and nothing's going to throw me off. When I initially started, I knew that role playing was something that I had to incorporate, but it's almost like I knew the objection handlers and I was like, oh, okay, well, I know what to say, so I'm okay. I kept on putting it off. And working with Brian, he's very structured and it was almost like military style where it was like, you're going to role play because that's going to allow you to get to where you want. And we always have to be prepared. There are way too many agents in this business. So we have to do whatever it takes to stand out. And the more prepared that you are, the more people will see that you're the right agent to go with. So role playing is definitely something that I recommend for everyone, because that's what's going to allow you to be ready when you're cold calling, when you're door knocking, so that you know what to respond. And then that's how you're going to get confident. And then that's how you're going to overcome your fear and come out of your box. Because if somebody tells you an objection and you know what to say, then it's like, okay, I'm ready for that objection to come. Like, who's going to tell it to me? Because I know exactly what I'm going to respond.
Right. And it's almost like you can't wait. It's like, come at me, try to give me something I can't handle. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has happened so many times that after role playing, I get the exact same scenario over the phone. And as this home seller is telling me these things, I'm just like smiling, like, okay, I know exactly what to say. And then they stop and then I hit them with the objection handler.
Right. You're ready to go. But yeah, like you say, you put in a lot of time. So how much role playing did you at any time? I'm just when you started out, because we have a lot of women who are trying to get into a regimen that makes sense to get successful. So how much would you recommend that they role play every day? How long?
At least 30 minutes every day. When I started, it was 5 days a week from 7:30 to 8 o'clock, because my schedule pretty much, and it's still the same, 7:30 to 8 is role playing, and then prospecting is 8 to 12. Then appointments or showings or whatever it is, I do it in the afternoon. And you have to be structured and have a schedule if you want to be successful, because if you don't stick to something or if you don't know what you're doing, then things are going to throw you off, or you're just not even going to be prospecting. And just like we mentioned earlier, you have to have many, many conversations in order to actually get a lead. And at the same time, you don't know if that lead is going to convert. So for example, and this is how I was taught, and the way that Brian has taught me is the way that we teach our team. And it's like, okay, we're going to prospect from 8 to 12, because let's say if we were to do it in the afternoon, usually in the afternoon after lunch, people get lazy, something comes up. If it's a mother and they have kids, you have to go pick up the kids. Then you say, okay, I'm going to prospect at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock comes around, I'm going to do it at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock turns to, I'll just do it tomorrow. Let me browse on Facebook some things.
Right.
So yeah, being structured, 8 to 12 prospecting, 7:30 to 8 role playing. I like to get the role playing done in the morning.
Love this. Love this. Okay. Time blocking is something that's so important in our business, to give that structure to your day, as you're talking about. So how do you handle if between 8 and noon you get a text or some interruption? I mean, do you ever allow yourself to get distracted and pulled off of your schedule?
It happens all the time. And what I do is that with any of the clients that I'm working with beforehand and before we begin the transaction, when we're at the appointment, I let them know my schedule so that they know that if they reach out to me during a certain time period and if I don't respond, it's not that I'm ignoring them. It's that I have set time aside to promote it and market their property, and I'm prospecting. And at the same time, if I don't get to them, I have one of my team members that can reach out and assist them in whatever it is that they need. I like to think that there are no emergencies in real estate, even though sometimes you get a text and you're like, oh my gosh, this deal is going to die and I'm not going to get paid. And at the end of the day, I feel things will always work out one way or another. So there's no point in that little thing throwing me off and taking me off my schedule of prospecting, because if I stop prospecting, say at 8:30 in the morning, and then that ruins my day, I didn't accomplish anything. What if that next call that I would have made would have been my next listing appointment? But because I let this thing affect me, now my whole mood is ruined and I'm not doing anything.
I love it. I love it. And so, yeah, time is gold. I mean, it's so precious. You have to hold it near and dear to your heart. And like you say, for me, I always have my phone with me, but unless it's my kids, it can wait. And even if it's a deal that's blowing up, it can wait until 12:01.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that. Thank you for that. All right. Let's talk a little bit about mindset, because mindset is huge. And you've talked about confidence a couple of times. And we tell our clients and students, hey, ladies, you know, there are no limits except the ones you have in your own mind. So can you speak to that? How do you stay positive and on track?
Yeah, what I do is that I write down the goals that I have. Because yeah, it's like you can't be positive all the time. Things will come up that will make you want to give up or stop what you're doing. Or if you're not seeing the results, you think, okay, this doesn't work. But what helps me in terms of mindset and staying focused is that I write down any of the things that I want to accomplish. And I also write down how succeeding in this business is going to change my life or change the life of my family, or how it's going to better my life. So sometimes we're so busy focusing on the negative things that are not coming out from the work that we're putting in, that we're failing to see the things that we are doing right. Perhaps you are improving in your objection handlers, or you're talking to 30 people every day now, and last week you were talking to 10. So it's little steps and things like that that will eventually get you to where you want, but it's not going to happen overnight. And at the same time, you have to know that you have to have thick skin, and just know that if you're putting in the work that's necessary, then you're going to see the results eventually. But you have to be putting in the work. You can't, it's like kind of like working out. I want to lose weight, but if you're only going to the gym once a week, you're not going to see any results. But you just know, if I'm going every single day and I'm eating right, 3 months from now, I'm going to start seeing the difference. And that's exactly how it is in this business.
Excellent. But would you agree with me? It's intentional then, right? You have to keep,
yes.
Like, I'm sure, like you said, negative self-talk comes in your mind, and you just kind of have to close that out and say, no, I'm focused. I know where I'm going and what I have to do.
Yes, that, and also surrounding yourself with people who are equally thinking the same or wanting the same goals, because it might be that your family is the people that are being negative to you and telling you, why are you doing this? You're not going to succeed. So there are going to be a lot of outside influences that are going to bring you down, but you just have to stay focused and know that you're doing it for yourself, and see if there are others that agree with you or that are on the same path as you, so that you can all lift each other up.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Love that. Something I hear a lot is, you know, gosh, you know, these leads, they're bad leads because they're not ready right away. And we say, wait a minute. The stat is like, I don't know, you know, only about, I don't even remember the percentage, but a very small amount of people that you talk to are ready to move tomorrow. So follow-up is so important. So what is your follow-up strategy, and how do you handle with that feeling of not wanting to be too pushy or too salesy? I hear that all the time. How do you handle that idea of follow-up?
Yeah. So if someone, first of all, if you're in the business and you're thinking you're just going to cold call someone and they're going to say, okay, yeah, come and list my house tomorrow, the chances of that happening are very slim, and you're better off just not even being in this business if that's what you think. But yeah, just like you said, it's all about follow-up. Depending on what they tell me, for example, they might say, oh, you know, what I'm getting a lot right now is, oh, you know, I don't want to sell my house because it's the holidays. And then I started asking, okay, well, is it because you think that there are no buyers out right now? Or is it something that someone told you? And I dig deep to see where their thinking came from, because many times they might just say, oh yeah, my Aunt Sally said that there are no buyers during the holidays, but Aunt Sally is not a realtor or is not in the business. So it's kind of like, oh, well, actually the buyers that are out right now are the most motivated. And if you could make the move, be out by the year, before the year is over, is that something you would be excited about? And they might say, oh, well, yeah, of course. Then I know, okay, that person's just misinformed. But let's say they tell me, we can't make a move because we're waiting for the kids to get out of school and they end school in June. Then I would tell them, okay, come June, are you looking to start the process then? Or would you want to hopefully be in your next home by July? So I try to break down to pretty much the day if I can. So if they tell me, we would ideally want to be in our home in July, then I say, okay, well, let's get the process started around May, because it usually takes 30 to 60 days to put your home on the market, get it sold, be in escrow, so we can coordinate all of that. And let's say I get that situation now, then I would just check back with them every month, whether it's a call, a video message, or a text. If it's, for example, Christmas time, just shoot them a text. Hey, Joe, it's Loida the Realtor. Just want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm here if you need anything. It's a simple text like that. It's not me being pushy like, hey, are you still ready to sell next year? Or come January, hey, Joe, it's Loida again. Hope everything's going well. If anything has changed, let me know. Or if I give them a call, hey, Joe, I just want to check in and see if you're still on track to make that move when your kids get out of school. And the words that I use, I know usually make me not sound pushy. So I'm not saying, hey, I was calling to see if you're still going to be ready to list your house. I say, hey, are you still on track to make the move? Because that sounds less like in your face.
Oh my gosh, Loida, I love that. I love that verbiage. And you're absolutely right, because one sounds a little bit pushy and salesy, and the other gets the same result. It gives you the information you need, but it's coming at more of a place of concern about them. And you're authentic about it, right? I mean, that's coming from your heart. You want to serve. So I love that. That is super. The time is wasting away, so I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about your social media presence. Okay, so what is it up to? 34,000 on YouTube.
Yeah.
In like 3.5 years. So real quickly, how in the heck did you do that? How did you do that, Loida?
All of that has been organic. I have never paid for anything on any of my social media platforms. When I started, I knew that if I was consistent, that would eventually attract people that could relate to me. And the reason that I started my channel was because when I did, I remember going on YouTube, looking at videos, and everything that kept on coming up was always men, and they were older men and not people that I could relate to. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to put my journey out there because someone might be able to relate to it, and then they might get motivated or inspired. And especially being a young woman, somebody can be like, well, usually you just see men being successful in sales, but maybe there's a woman out there. So I started posting every single week, and that's pretty much what has been my schedule. What I do is that based on the things that I'm going through in transactions, if there's something that stands out to me that I know others would be able to learn from, then that's where I get my ideas for putting out the videos. And videos on cold calling, on door knocking, just any tips and advice that I know has helped me. I want to put it out there because I know somebody's going to be able to implement that, and hopefully they can be successful in their career, wherever it is that they're at. And they could say, oh, I took that one thing that Loida said and it actually works.
I love it. And to your point, that's exactly why Jan and I launched Livy Girl, because all these guys out there and women, we think different. Right? And we talk different, and we approach life differently, and we do business differently. And so we're excited that you're going to be on stage at our first national conference, She's Unstoppable, live in April. And just tell us a little bit, if you would, about what you would like to accomplish during your 30 minutes on stage.
Well, some of the things that I do want to accomplish, because I know it's gonna feel even shorter than what it is now right now with you on here. But I want to break through the limitations that a lot of the ladies have when it comes to sales and being successful and not feeling like they're pushy or actually wanting to make a great living and make money, but at the same time knowing that they're actually helping people. I think many women feel that, oh, well, if you're in sales, you're pushy, but we don't want to sound like that. And maybe we just don't want to follow up that much. But at the end of the day, I tell myself and I tell anyone that I'm speaking to, we help people by leading them to make a decision. And if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. And I would much rather have them go with me because I know that I'm going to get the job done. Especially myself, cold calling and going after expireds. I get so many people that tell me all of the bad experiences that they have had with their previous agents. And when I speak to them, I tell them, because of your bad experience, now I have to work even harder to prove to you that I'm not the same. And at the same time, something that I tell them that sometimes throws them off is that, at the end of the day, if I can't help you, I'm going to tell you because I'm not just interested in a listing. And at the same time, if maybe we're not a fit to work together, and I will let you know as well, because I don't mind passing on business if I know I can help someone. So it's little things like that make people remember you. And at the same time, you sound confident and you just become a better person in the business.
Super. Yeah. I remember one thing you said is you turn it on them to make it feel like they really want to work with you when you say, well, wait a minute, I only work with serious sellers, serious homeowners. And so if you are not that, that's fine. But we won't be able to work together. And it's almost like they say, wait a minute, I'm serious. What are you talking about? Right?
Yeah. That's one example. And also usually when they tell me, oh, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to hire you. And I tell them, well, at the same time, I'm not sure if I want to work with you as well, Mr. Seller. So when we meet, we're going to figure that out. Because then they see like, oh, okay, wow. Usually people have this perception, oh, it's a realtor. They're desperate for the business. So of course they want to get my listing. And for me, it's the opposite. It's like, yeah, if I can help you, of course I'm going to tell you. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to work with you as well, because if we don't meet eye to eye, then there's no point if we can't get along, since it's going to be a team effort when we do go into this transaction.
Right. I love that. So if you had to think of one thing that allows you to stand out, why would someone choose Loida instead of anybody else in your area? What do you say to people in that regard? Just
in general, whether it's buyers or sellers or just anything?
Yeah, I was just curious because one thing we do with our clients is we say, you know what, you got to be different. And you are different. So many women say, there's nothing unique about me. And we say, yes, there is. Search down and look. So I would think for you, the fact that you're Hispanic is something that's a differentiator, but it probably goes deeper than that. Maybe it's your heart and your passion to really help people. I'm curious if you ever kind of thought about what makes you unique and incorporated that into your marketing.
Yeah. I think it kind of goes along with what we were just talking about, of me demonstrating to people that if I can help them, I will tell them and I will pass on that business. And when we have these conversations before the appointments and I make that clear to them, they see that I'm coming more from the perspective of actually wanting to help. And there have been multiple times that I'm calling these people and they tell me, I'm sure that that I've gotten hundreds of calls, but you're the only one that I actually feel that I can trust and that I'm comfortable with actually meeting. And that's why I'm going with you. And it happens all the time because I never come across as with a scarcity mindset of I need this deal. And when you don't come across like that, people are more willing to work with you and they can almost sense that. So I feel like for me, that's one of the keys and one of the reasons why people usually will pick me over somebody else.
Yes, trust. NAR said that's the number one reason. Well, listen, I want to do a plug for you. You are the MC for the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals in Boston. Can you tell us just a second about that event coming up? Yeah, so that will be next Friday. It will be from 7 to 11. I will be the MC, which is going to be really exciting. I know that they're going to have their end of the year pretty much celebration
from 7 to 11. It's going to be a great time. This will be my first time that I will be an MC, hopefully not the last. And I'm really excited for the event that you guys are having next year and to be on stage on that. So anyone that's in the Boston area, you guys can just go to my website. All of the info is there.
Excellent. Now, it said black and white and formal.
Yes.
So are you going to be putting on Instagram the gorgeous dress you're going to be wearing, or do we have to wait until that night? I mean, I'd love to see it.
Oh, you're going to have to wait until that night.
Okay.
I have it. It's ready. I've been working out extra hard just to make sure it looks good.
Oh, that's awesome. Loida, thank you so much for your time today. The ladies are so appreciate, I'm sure, your time. This was a great episode.
Yes, thank you so much. And they can listen more and hopefully be at the event in April next year if they want to know more.
Awesome. All right. Loida Velasquez. I'm sorry, I didn't say it right. Loida Velasquez. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's not my best time of day. But Loida, thank you so much, hon. Have a great rest of your day. Take good care.
Thank you. Okay.